Hey YouTube, Sandy Frank here. This week's episode of Hobby Talk, we're going to be talking about a sobering topic, and that is the topic of did Shohei Ohtani bet on baseball? And what does this mean? This scandal has been breaking out. It's a little more quieter now, but um, as you guys know, I am a big fan of Ohtani. I collect a lot of his cards. I've graded a lot of his cards. I'm a huge fan. I think he's the greatest player, perhaps, in the history of baseball. Overall, like what he can do. No one. I mean, Babe Ruth's the only comparison he can even make to what he does. But I've been gone for a month, and while I was gone, I decided not to post any videos just because I had a lot of stuff going on while I was off. So, I'm back now. How We Talk is back. Been getting some more videos posted up. And definitely, this is the first subject I wanted to talk about on How We Talk. And it'd be hypocritical of me to not mention this because this is big news. And that is the question. Did Shohei Ohtani bet on baseball? I don't think there's a 0% chance that this happened. And here's what happened. These are the facts that we know. Shohei Ohtani met this individual named Ippei Mizuhara when he was in Japan playing baseball. When Ohtani came to the Angels in 2018, he brought Ippei along as his interpreter, and he's been Shohei's interpreter ever since, until like a week or two ago when the Dodgers fired him. And the reason he got fired was that he has been making bets, placing bets with bookies, and apparently is not a very good gambler. Just like the house always wins, guys. You know, this is why you shouldn't get into sports gambling, I think, because you'll eventually lose. That's the way gambling is set up. So apparently Ippei, Mr. Mizuhara, has gotten way in debt. And they say his salary is around $200,000 a year, but yet he's been able to rack up $4.5 million of debt. And he goes to his friend Shohei Ohtani and asks for help. Help me pay this off. So Shohei sends this bookie $4.5 million. You can't send $4.5 million at once, so he had to send several payments over to this bookie, which is not good, because it kind of makes it look like maybe Ippei was making these bets for Ohtani. That's my opinion. Either Ohtani knew the guy was gambling and needed money to get out of gambling, or these are actually Ohtani's bets and he's just going through Mizuhara. And the way things have transpired, at first Ohtani said, yes, I sent the money, and then later on he had no knowledge of it. The stories just don't add up, and Shohei and the Dodgers have thrown Mizuhara under the bus. He's the fall guy in this. But there's federal investigation. Baseball is now investigating. And they'll be able to figure out what actually happened. But Mizuhara, I am pretty sure Mizuhara will never say Ohtani made these bets. He'll never say this, because Ohtani will take care of him, for the rest of his life, and probably him and his family, to be quiet and take the blame. So I hate that this happened. It's very annoying. It just continues to show why it's probably not a great idea to put a lot of money into sports cards, because they're humans. They're going to mess up. They are surrounded by massive amounts of money, too many temptations, and every human is imperfect. And they're going to, not saying every player is going to do something wrong, but it's a tough life to live when everything you do is under the microscope and you have all this money with all these temptations out there. And who knew, maybe Ohtani's temptation is gambling. Now, there is a worst case scenario in this. And there's also, good case scenario. The best case scenario is that Ohtani is just clueless about this guy, what he's doing, and needing all this money, which I don't buy for a second. But that's the best case scenario. Ohtani is just helping his buddy, his interpreter, no questions asked. Actually, Ohtani's now saying that the money was stolen from his accounts, which makes it seem that's the story that changed. First, Ohtani said he sent the money, and then he said it was stolen from him. So obviously, unless there was some major misunderstanding in the questioning, I think the story changed to Mizuhara is the fall guy in this, and he'll fall on the sword for Ohtani, the Dodgers, baseball. He will always be taken care of by Ohtani, and he's the classic fall guy here. What do I think happened? I think it's much more closer to the worst case scenario. I believe that these bets were made by Ohtani. Well, they were directed by Ohtani, but placed by Mizuhara. Now, I'm getting into my speculation. And I think that baseball was involved. I don't think he bet or had bets placed on Major League Baseball, but I think bets were made on Nippon League Baseball, or maybe even the World Baseball Classic. Because I'm pretty sure Ohtani, no one is going to want to bet on actual Major League Baseball that's in baseball. It's happened before, but the punishment is very severe. But the rules in baseball are that you're not allowed to bet on baseball. It doesn't say you're not allowed to bet on Major League Baseball. It also says you're not allowed to bet on softball. So you better believe that Nippon League Baseball, World Baseball Classic is a major problem if Ohtani directed bets on these baseball events. Now, will Major League Baseball, just go with this story of this was Ippei Mizuhara stealing money from Ohtani and keep it at that? Did Ohtani get away with this? I think so, because Ohtani is the face of baseball. And I just don't see baseball, if they find out what really happened, I think it'll never come to light. It's going to be buried under a rug, buried in the ocean. And it'll be interesting to see what eventually happens with Mr. Mizuhara. If Mr. Mizuhara meets some untimely end, you will never hear the end of conspiracy theories about what really happened here. Because there's so much money at stake in this from Major League Baseball. This is the person that they have put out as the face of baseball. He's the face of baseball in Japan. He's the face of the greatest player in baseball. Just a crazy story. I hate even doing this episode, but I think with my channel, I always try to be as upfront with everything as possible, and I can't ignore this story. I hope that I'm just being overly critical and overly cynical, thinking that Ohtani made bets on baseball, and that Ohtani just didn't understand the questions, and so his answers were not correct, and that this guy actually just stole money from Ohtani, and Ohtani didn't notice it. It's really hard to see how this is going to be completely swept under the rug, especially when the feds are involved. The feds don't care about baseball. They care about rooting out what really happened. And I think that's where you're going to find the real story come out is from the feds. Because I think Major League Baseball is not going to want to touch this story. They're being forced to, because if they don't do something, it's going to look bad for them. So what do you guys think? That's the important thing. Did Shohei bet on baseball? Did Shohei know what was going on? Did Shohei lie? Did Shohei pay this guy's debts to a bookie, which now has his name attached to gambling? Is betting on Nippon League Baseball or World Baseball Classic, is that a bannable offense? If you can't bet on softball, you definitely can't bet on international baseball. It just can't happen. So I really want to believe in Shohei, but something smells here. And my gut says he was directing the bets. Because otherwise he would never allow his money to go towards this bookie. And Ohtani is not that trusting of people or that naive to just have a guy come up to you and say, "Hey, Shohei, I need some cash, man. I need some cash now. Like $4.5 million. Can you send it to this guy over here in California and pay him off for me?" No, Shohei is not a dummy. He knew what this was for. It wasn't stolen from him. This story is not going to end well. I just have a terrible feeling. But I am not fire selling my Ohtani stuff. I don't even think anybody really is. I checked Ohtani prices and they're just very slightly down. Just like all baseball prices are as the season gets going. They tend to rise during the off season and peak during spring training. Everybody's getting excited for baseball. Then it kind of tails off and corrects as the season goes on. But the story just hurts my gut. Anyway, what do you guys think? Put down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. I'm back from my adventure, and we'll be back to posting videos every day. I've got a few in the can. I didn't want to burn up all the videos I had while I was gone, so we'll get back in the swing of things. Hopefully, maybe even do an episode of Card to Card soon. I have an episode in mind that I wanted to try. We've got to talk about sorcery. Sorcery news is going like crazy. So next week I'll probably do a hobby talk on sorcery, because a lot of crazy stuff going on with sorcery. All right, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos later.